I met Philippa Whitmore for the first time in her elegant, sunlit dining room, where the light gleamed off delicate bone china, polished crystal, and an invisible wall of scrutiny. Ralph squeezed my hand beneath the starched tablecloth, his thumb pressing against mine in quiet reassurance. "You're okay. I've got you." But his mother had already dissected me with a single glance. Her eyes stalled on my off-rack dress, 2 years out of fashion, and caught the slight tear along the hem like it confirmed everything she suspected. "So, Rachel," she began, her tone as crisp and brittle as fine china, "where is it you said you were studying?" I answered carefully, sensing the trap before it snapped shut. "I'm not in school right now. I'm working. Saving to start my own venture." "A business," she repeated, lifting one perfectly shaped eyebrow. "How ambitious." Ralph jumped in quickly. "She has an incredible eye for design, Mom. Landscaping, interiors, she's seriously talented." Philippa's lips curled into something resembling a smile, a slow, deliberate stretch. "Well," she said, voice light as glass, "everyone needs a pastime." I swallowed, hard. The air felt heavy with forced civility, the kind you grow up learning to endure when you never had much. I'd walked into this house knowing I wasn't part of their world, but I hadn't expected to feel so thoroughly diminished. Later, in the garden, Ralph lit a cigarette, his fingers trembling slightly. "I told you she's intense," he muttered. "She thinks she's doing what's best." "Best for who?" I asked, arms folded tight. "For me," he replied. Then he hesitated. "For me being with someone like you." I meant to laugh it off, but it came out hollow, more like a bruise than a joke. He stepped closer and wrapped his arms around me. "No. She's scared. Scared of anything real. Anything honest. You make me feel something she never taught me to understand." I wanted to believe him. I really did. I wanted to believe that what we had could weather the quiet, cutting resistance of his family. But even back then, deep inside, I knew Philippa wasn't just a passing storm. She was the whole forecast. And if I wanted to stay, I'd have to learn how to live through it, or lose everything trying. But I stayed. Because I loved him. And foolishly, I believed that love would eventually be enough to earn me a place. We moved into a modest 2-bedroom above a row of shops. The scent of fresh paint and old dreams clung to the walls. I stood in that tiny kitchen holding a second-hand coffee maker I'd bought for $4 at a yard sale and whispered to myself, "This is where it starts." My first venture was an online floral boutique, small, handcrafted arrangements with local delivery. I worked long days, sometimes 12 hours straight. That first month, I earned exactly $142. My second idea was worse. Personalized home decor signs. I spent more time sanding, painting, and stenciling than selling. Philippa, of course, found it all rather amusing. "Not every woman is cut out for the workforce," she told Ralph over brunch. I wasn't invited. Some girls just don't have the grit for the climb. Ralph defended me. I knew he did. But he never pushed back hard enough. Not really. Philippa had this way of making defiance look cruel, like saying no to her meant you lacked class. So I buried myself in learning. SEO, branding, design principles. I taught myself everything I could find. I watched tutorial after tutorial late into the night, my legs curled under me on the couch, Ralph snoring beside me. My fingers were always nicked or ink-stained. My account balance constantly teetered near empty. But I kept at it. I didn't just want to make something of myself. I needed to. The third time she asked, "How's that little hobby of yours?" I smiled and replied, "It's growing." I had just hit over 1,000 followers on an anonymous blog where I posted landscape design ideas. Philippa raised a single eyebrow. "Well, it's nice you have something to fill your time while Ralph focuses on building a real future." That night, I brought it up with Ralph. Do you ever notice she only praises me when she's mocking me? He rubbed his temples, already weary. She doesn't mean it like that. She just grew up differently. So did I snapped. But I don't put others down to feel better about myself. He looked away. Can we not make this a fight? But it was already a battle. The only difference was I was the only one fighting. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling fan making its slow, creaking turns. I could feel it, that quiet, crawling sense that our foundation wasn't solid. We were trying to build a future on shaky ground, and I was the only one holding up the structure. The night Philippa finally bared her teeth, it was supposed to be ordinary. A dinner to celebrate Ralph's father's birthday. Upscale steakhouse. Soft lighting. Clinking glasses. I had just closed a deal, partnering with a national design brand valued at over $15 million. No one at that table had a clue. I smiled through the conversations. Philippa wore her pearl necklace like armor and sipped her Chardonnay like she was preparing for a performance. Then she leaned forward with that syrup-sweet voice. Rachel, darling, how is that blog of yours? Still doing those cute little, what do you call them, tips? Ralph shifted uncomfortably. I kept my tone even. The blog's doing well. We've expanded into video content, landscaping, home interiors, seasonal guides. She let out a sharp, empty laugh. How precious! Imagine making money without even a degree. What a strange world we live in. Everything stilled. Even the waiter hesitated in the silence. Mom, Ralph started. But she wasn't done. I mean, really, Ralph. Your father went to Yale. I went to Benmar. And now you're married to, she gestured at me with her wine glass, a girl with a camera and no education. Trash with a blog. My stomach twisted. I turned to Ralph, hoping, waiting, for him to say something, anything. But he didn't even meet my eyes. He just looked down, swirling his wine in silence. I rose from my seat deliberately, the sound of the chair scraping sharply against the marble floor echoing like a challenge. I covered your son's hospital expenses, your daughter's school fees, and even paid for half the kitchen you brag about, I said, my voice steady but firm. I never asked for a thank you, but I'll be damned if you get to insult me while sipping wine I paid for. Philippa's face flushed, but she stayed quiet. Rachel, Ralph murmured, reaching out like he was still trying to smooth the cracks over. I pulled my hand away before he could touch me. No, I said, my voice sharper now. If you won't defend me, then I will. I'm done staying silent. Done being useful only when it's convenient. Done being invisible. I turned on my heel and stepped into the night air. Each click of my heels on the driveway felt like shedding a layer of weight I'd worn for too long. I didn't look back. The door never opened behind me. Not once. That dinner, that moment when she called me uneducated trash, wasn't just another insult. It was the final straw. I didn't just walk out of that room. I walked out of years of subtle jabs wrapped in sugar and false smiles. Ralph followed me out to the car, his face pale, eyes wide with panic. Let's just leave, he said, his hand reaching for mine again. But I didn't give it.